I love what we're doing with this summit, invisible to invincible. It's this invisibility, this idea of it is that we can feel invisible, but not really be invisible. And this is all a state of mind, and right, so this summit is all about helping us to move into that place of invincibility. So our next speaker up, I'm super excited to introduce her, Whitnie Wiley. Her topic today is going to be 3 tips to help you get out of your comfort zone, which I think this is such an important piece, because it's out of our comfort zone that everything happens. One thing I did realize by facing a fear every day is that every time I broke through a fear, is I not only broke out of my comfort zone, but I enlarged the size of my comfort zone. It got easier and easier and easier to break through fears as I did more of them. So Whitnie Wiley, I met Whitnie through a project called One Habit Books. And she was doing interviews and stuff. And so I really hit it off with her because I love her, what she's all about, and who she is. And this summit is all about showing up as you. That's what the invincibility piece is showing up as who you are. So Whitnie, we want to hear from you. You want to give us those 3 tips to help you get out of your comfort zone. It's all yours, girl.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I think about the time that we met, Linda, and that was one of those times when I was stepping out of my comfort zone for sure. I was doing interviews of the authors of a book, and I had never done anything like that before. I just came up with this idea, asked if I could do it. They said yes, and there it was. So what I'm going to talk about is how you can do just that, and what confidence is, and how you can actually be more confident and moving forward with the things that you want to do. It's a fallacy to think that you will do what you want to do once you feel confident. It's actually contrary. It's when you do the things that you want, particularly those things that scare you, that you develop your confidence. There was a time when I struggled with fear. I made decisions from a place of fear. I took jobs out of fear. I stayed in jobs too long because of fear. And know this, that fear in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's when it cripples you, when it keeps you from doing what you want, that's when you need to reevaluate its purpose and what it's doing in your life. So if you don't already have it available, I would love for you to grab a pen and a piece of paper. I'm not suggesting you use your phone because it can be distracting. So I'm suggesting you have pen and paper. And the other reason a pen and paper is because there is a hand-brain connection that helps you to tie things together. And the reason that I want you to do this is that I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions over the course of the next 25 minutes or so. And you're not going to have time to answer the questions right now, but I want you to start thinking about them. And then my suggestion would be, when we are done today, because I don't want you answering the questions and not listening to the other speakers, but when we're done, that you take some time and think through the answers to the questions and spend some time over the next couple of days continuing to do that. So let's start here. Ask yourself, am I a confident person? And if the answer is yes, why? And if not, why not? Ask yourself, what is confidence? What does it mean for you to be confident? Not what the dictionary says is confidence, but what do you see as confident? And are you that? Is feeling confident different than being confident? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But how do you feel about that? What are your thoughts about that? Have you ever given any thought to that? And do you know how to create confidence? Do you know what it takes to create a lack of confidence? So we started with those questions because I really want you to think about your life, and more importantly, how you think about yourself. You don't have to share your answers with anyone ever, um, but it is important that you take the time over the next couple of days to really ponder the questions and listen for the answers and then write them down. And what I want to do today is share with you some of the steps that I've taken to build my confidence and move past my fears and doubts. And what I'm sharing are the very steps that I've taken, that my clients take whenever they are moving up the corporate ladder or starting new careers or taking on any other challenging new adventures. And the good news is that what we've done, you can do too. And, you know, if you think about it, there are probably areas in your life where you've already done some of these things and others where it's a challenge for you. So it all starts, and Linda mentioned this, is about getting out of your comfort zone, one step or one jump at a time. And so what I want you to walk away with today is an understanding of what confidence is and how to improve yours, a vision for your life and what you want it to look like, and then an action plan for taking that next first step. So let me share a little bit about myself. When I was a kid, I had all kinds of dreams, as most of us do, right? I wanted to be a number of things when I grew up, and at different times it was a ballerina and a movie star, a model, doctor, lawyer. There was a time I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, an engineer, and more. And I always felt that I could, and my parents, while not particularly aggressive in pushing me towards anything, they were always really encouraging about whatever it is I wanted. And they let me know I was capable of anything. But, as you know, the world can be a hostile place, right? So I was too short for some things and too heavy, and I failed to pass organic chemistry. I ended up divorced, and there were lots of other obstacles that told me something that I wanted wasn't actually an option for me. And back then, with a few exceptions, I hadn't yet built my muscles for overcoming obstacles. And I think in the end, that's what it is. It's the more we go through, the more we grow through. And I just hadn't really found myself yet. In fact, it wasn't until after my divorce that I was actually forced to, and then it was after my son's death that I started to tie all these bits and pieces of wisdom that I had been unknowingly gathering to move me towards who I am today. So, where did I start? I started with actually these two questions, and would love for you to write them down. What is my vision for my life? So you would write that question. What is my vision for my life? I'm asking you, what is the vision for your life? Why do you want it? Right? Why do you want it? Ask yourself, why do I want what I want? And why do we start there? Because if you don't know what you want, then anything will do. It is impossible to live the life of your dreams if you don't know what your dreams are. So, the possibility of living the life of your dreams is knowing what your dreams are. You have to allow yourself to dream. Then you have to take the steps necessary to make those dreams come true. So I wanted to be married and in a loving, happy marriage. I wanted to work for myself and do work that impacted the world. I wanted to be a published author. I want to run my business from Hawaii and Cabo. And for a while, some of the things I wanted, I let fear stand in my way. And I wasn't confident that I could actually achieve them because I'd failed in the past. But I discovered something. When I got really clear on when I was at my most successful and applied what I did in those areas of my life to other areas of my life, I found that one, the fear went away because I knew that I was capable of doing things. Well, okay, maybe maybe the fear didn't go away, but the fear didn't stand in my way. And Linda mentioned that as well, right? It's not that you are free of all fear. It's that you feel the fear and do it anyway. So, what is confidence? It's a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's ability, one's appreciation for one's own abilities and qualities. So, do you know what creates confidence? I mentioned it earlier, but this is a question that I would love for you to write down and hold on to. The answer is action. Action creates confidence. Do you know what creates lack of confidence? So if action creates confidence, what do you think creates lack of confidence? Absolutely. It is inaction. And the void that it needs to be filled, right? There's this void in between that needs to be filled. And what happens is our brain will fill it with fear and doubt. And people tend to think that they will do the thing that they want to do when they feel confident, right? You've probably said that to yourself. I will do such and such when I'm confident. I will write that book when I'm confident. I will take the stage when I'm confident. But the truth is, you will feel confident when you take the action. The more action you take, the more confident you become. And the good news is that any action, any step toward your goal is a good action to take. And I've learned to embrace this concept of ready, fire, aim. It's one that I learned from Jack Canfield. And it is make a decision to take action. Take the action. And then if you don't hit the mark, you make adjustments. Maybe they're micro adjustments, maybe they are macro adjustments. But you just take the action, see what happens, and then make adjustments in order to get closer to where you're trying to go. And feeling confident or lacking it does not necessarily apply to everything. And I think this is something that we really have to grab hold of. Confidence generally is situational, right? It is not, for most of us, it doesn't encompass everything. So can you identify what or where specifically you feel you lack confidence? You know, what are those areas where you don't feel that you're confident? And think about, is that thing, whatever that area is it a habit or is that something you've adopted as your identity? Procrastination is one of those things that it keeps a lot of people from doing anything, right? It holds us back. Do you have the habit of procrastinating, or have you adopted the identity of being a procrastinator? There's a difference. And the difference is important because habits are easier to change. Your identity, you're tied up in that. You are wrapped up in who you are, and you and your brain are doing everything possible to reaffirm the identity that you've taken on. So ask the question, is it habit or is it identity? Is it momentary or situational? You see, you get to choose whether you lack confidence or feel the fear. You don't have to do that. And the way you get rid of it is by defining success your way, or redefining success your way. And that goes back to your vision, right? What is it that you want your life to look like? What do you want your work to look like? What are the things that you want to do? Who do you want to be? And what do you want to feel? Is it fear? Is doubt anywhere on that list? If you answered those questions, is doubt anywhere on that list? Because what you think about, you bring about. And I'm sure you've heard this one too, where your focus goes, energy flows. So what have you wanted to do that you haven't because you lack confidence? And what's standing in your way? And again, all the questions, because the more you take the time to get curious about why you do or don't do the things that you want, the more you'll be able to deconstruct and then put together a plan for moving forward. So what does it take to feel confident? I want you to start with this, to recognize that you are not your feelings. You're not your feelings. I want you to think about that for a second. I bet you have friends or other supporters who think you're awesome, right? They think you can do anything. They admire you. They think you rock. What if you listen to your friends and not that critical voice in your head? And while that voice is trying to protect you, it's not always a voice that's trying to help you succeed or live your best life, because your brain is not about it. Your brain is about survival. It's not about thriving. So think about, where have you felt confident and where have you succeeded? And what I want you to do is write down about what it was in those times that you were succeeding, that made you feel so empowered, that let you know in your gut that you were going to be successful. So think about this. If you have children, or even if you don't have children, I'm sure you've paid attention to children, and you watch them and they're confident that they can do anything, right? Sometimes to the dismay of their parents, but they feel like they can do anything. And part of the reason for that is that parents tell their children, you can do anything, right? At least when they're younger. Somewhere along the way, we stop reinforcing that you can do anything. And we stop believing that we can do anything because we've run up against obstacles that have stopped us in our tracks. But when you thought you could do anything, you tried everything. And so it's only when you take action that you can move back to that place, to that place of feeling like you can't do anything. So what was the environment that you were in? Was it something that you were doing? Was it a feeling that you had? The more you can get clear, the more you can get clear on this, the easier it will be to tap into what it is you actually need. You know, for me, it was school. It's still school. It's learning. I'm extremely confident about my ability to learn new things, to study and write, right? I just know I know what I know, and and what I know is that I can learn things. Well, maybe not technology things, but most other things. I can learn anything. I feel that in my essence, in my being. Relationships, on the other hand, historically have been a little more challenging for me. So what that means is that I have to put a little more energy and time intentionally into doing that. It doesn't mean that I don't try. It doesn't mean that I give up on those things. It just means that it's going to take a little more work. And know this, you have always done and succeeded at new things, at hard things. You are probably sitting there going, what, like what hard things? Well, you learn to walk, you learn to talk, you learn to read, you went to school, made friends, dated, raised families, started a career, ride a bike, ski, swim, whatever, right? All of those things were things that you had never done before you did it. And even if you didn't do them exactly the way you wanted, you did those things. Things that you take for granted other people struggle with, just as things that you don't even think you can begin to do, other people are whizzing by you. So in the end, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what other people are doing. It doesn't matter what you've tried in the past and haven't done. The bottom line is that you'll take some action and move forward. So I want you to try this for a week. Make note of this. Write it down, or when you rewatch the videos, get it then. And I want you to try this for a week. At the end of each day, to write down at least 3 things that you did well, that you felt good about or were proud of yourself for doing. That may be, you have those days where you struggle to do anything that you consider a win. Maybe it's that you drank 3 glasses of water that day, right? Maybe that's what you did. Maybe you had a meal and you didn't drop food all down the front of your clothes. The bottom line is that you're going to just acknowledge things that you've done well, that you felt good about or were proud of. It's important that you know your strengths, that you know your talents, and that you know you're 100% smart, right? You have everything you need to do what you're called to do. And you've got to start believing that. So confidence, yes, is part mindset, but it's mostly action. And it's a circle. The more you do, the more your mindset increases. And the more your mindset increases, the more you will do. So what can you actually do to increase your confidence? So here are the 3 things that I would like to leave you with. And they're pretty quick actions that you can take that will help you to lift yourself up and get your head back in the game so that you can actually take the actions that you need to take to build your confidence. So first, to get a boost, you need to push through your fears. Take a walk down memory lane. Okay, start by reminding yourself of all the things that you've done, the hard things, the persistent things, the crazy things that people who jump out of airplanes are even afraid to do. Right? Focus on the successes in your life and remember, and just remember who you are, and that you are more than enough and fully equipped to do anything you set your mind to. So that's one. Two is there is nothing like feeling the fear and doing it anyway to help inject you with confidence. At the moment that you make a decision to do something, do not give yourself a chance or any time to talk yourself out of it, right? When you're feeling any amount of fear, the worst thing that you can do is to give yourself more time to ponder all the things that can go wrong. So instead, adopt Mel Robbins has a 5-second rule. You count down backwards from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Or the one I use I learned from Tony Robbins, who I don't think is any relations to Mel Robbins, by the way. And he says, when I say go, we go, right? And he does that. He does a cold plunge every day. And that's what he does to 58 degrees or some ridiculous number of degrees his pool is. And I have used that myself. We don't have a heater on our pool, so it only gets used for a very short amount of time in the year, but it's cold even when it's 100 and something degrees out. And I find myself saying, when I say go, we go, and I just go and jump. And you've got to do that. So don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of it or explore all the things that go wrong. Make a decision and simply say, when I say go, we go, then launch. And finally, you can do a preview or a visualization exercise that allows you to see the outcome of what it is you desire to do. You'll create a mental picture of what it will look like when you complete the action you're going to take. But you don't stop there at what you will see. You want to really tap into the confidence that you'll create, the feelings that you'll have once you've achieved your goal. What does success feel like? Will you be smiling? Will you be jumping up and down with joy, pumping your fists in the air? See it, feel it, do it by imagining yourself actually doing it. And what this will do is it will tell your body and your mind that it's finished, right? And your mind doesn't know the difference between something that you're imagining, right, that you're visualizing, and the actual thing. So if you're telling yourself, your body, your physiology, that you've done it successfully, you'll believe it, and then you can move on and do it. So you have successfully accomplished your goal, and this allows you to take this winner's edge with you as you do the real thing. So thank you and good luck and building your confidence.
Awesome, Whitnie. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Tell everybody how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me at www.shiftingintoaction, SHFITINGINTO, action, ACTION.now.site, SITE.
So we don't have time for Q&A, but ladies, gentlemen, if you want to connect with Whitnie, please do so. Reach out to her. She'll put her contact information in the chat here. We'll also include it for watching the replay as well. Whitnie, that was fabulous. I love it. I got some really great notes. There was something you said, if you don't know what you want, anything will do. I mean, that I think was really there were so many takeaways, but that for me was the top of the head there, because I spent so many years not knowing what I wanted to do and just kind of flailing around, and life was happening. Good things were happening, bad things were happening, but I wasn't focused on that one thing. And so once I got laser focused on what I want, things started unfolding faster and I'm getting the results that I want. So thank you so much, Whitnie. This was fabulous. Truly appreciate you. And thanks for being part of the Invisible to Invincible Summit. And what I'm going to do now is yes, of course. I love you so much. So I'm going to show our commercial right here. Maybe not. There we go. All Awesome, awesome. So I show the commercial because we do have some books coming up. We have many, many opportunities for you to be part of what we're doing. And we're going to drop in the chat a way for you to join us. We're offering during this summit 50% off only during the summit. So for the next 2 days, if you're watching the replay, sorry that available is the 50% is not available. But if you go to actiontakerspublishing.com/summit, you'll be able to take part in one of the books that we have coming up. We have many, many coming up. So join us there, and then enter the code. The code is important. Summit 50 will give you that 50% off.